What if it was possible to have local, fresh groceries delivered right to your door? Think of all the free time you'd have. Well, Instacart gives unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. Forgot that special ingredient in your favorite dish? Instacart can deliver it to your front door in as fast as 1 hour. You can shop multiple stores, see deals in your area, and save time and money. I've been using Instacart for over 3 years. I started using them in Arizona, and I'm using them here in Florida. I love the time-saving convenience. They pick the freshest products, and they keep my eggs safe too. To receive your first delivery free, follow the link in the show notes so that Instacart knows that we sent you and to help support the show. Instacart. Never step foot in a grocery store again. Welcome to Empowered Within, a soul-quenching, transformational podcast that will set your soul on fire through candid and inspiring conversations. Leading experts, celebrities, healers, and I share our journeys of how we've overcome challenges to living an empowered life from within. I'm your host, Jennifer Pilates. Welcome to another episode of Empowered Within. Hi there, and welcome to the show. Today's guest is our resident emotional health consultant, April Adams. Today, we are talking about imposter syndrome. Do you have it? Well, we're going to find out. April is the International Director of Orpheus Academy. She also works as an Orpheus therapist with her private clients. She has been working with the Orpheus tools professionally since 2015 and has been a holistic practitioner since 1995. April got her start practicing reflexology and Reiki while feeling increasingly drawn to working with the subconscious mind. April received training in psychology, hypnosis, and EFT before discovering the Orpheus tools. The science and efficiency of this powerful audio tracks were enough to convince her that those tools were the final puzzle piece we were all missing, and she has never turned back since. April has successfully guided hundreds of clients around the world to achieve emotional peace using the Orpheus audio tracks. Her specialties include women 30 to 35 with relationship issues, overwhelm, resentment, longing, negative childhood experiences, limiting beliefs, fears, phobia, and of course, imposter syndrome. She is the author of 2 best-selling books. She has had numerous television appearances and podcast interviews throughout her career around the world. Welcome back, Miss April.
Thank you so much. It's always good to be here. I love talking to you.
Oh my gosh, I love when we get together, especially in #Mercury retrograde.
Oh man.
Behind the scenes, y'all, we've been having a minute. We had a minute here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So let's dive in to imposter syndrome. So when you look back over the years since you started in your business and in life, how has that affected you? And how are you aware of it now that you kind of look back?
Right. Yeah. So there have been many times, especially when I first started my own business, when I felt like, oh, who am I to guide people when I'm not perfect yet? You know, I haven't fixed myself 100%. So what do I have? And also, you know, if you haven't gone and gotten a doctorate somewhere, you wonder a little bit, am I qualified? Are people going to believe I'm qualified? And really, when it comes down to it, people are looking for someone who has been where they are and who has found a way out of it. And so you can go and get all kinds of qualifications and degrees and all of these other things, but people are really looking for someone who's been there or is going through it. And there were times where I was going through it and figuring out the resolution for myself 10 minutes before my client of the day needed that information. So you just never know how it's going to unfold. And I think it's about offering your gifts to the world. But when you're going through it, you are really worried and concerned. Are people going to see that I'm not as good as I'm saying I am, or I'm not as qualified as I should be to be doing this thing? So even if we push past our own doubts, we've still got this underlying current of, what if someone finds out?
And that's huge. And I know I have this conversation with a lot of clients. It's not about one more certification.
Right.
It's about being in alignment with what you know to be true and finding that self-worth and going with that flow and offering it out there. because there's
Right.
someone that needs you. And it's almost like, how dare you not share what you have because someone really needs you?
100%. Yeah. I mean, should you be doing the work on yourself? Should you have done a considerable amount of work on yourself before you start working on others? Yes, absolutely. But do you need to be perfect before you can lead others? No. You know, nobody is ever perfect. And you look at all of the top gurus, they all have their own blocks. Many of them have not done the subconscious work on themselves and are still just trying to push through with sheer force of will. So, you know, there are always more levels of healing that each of us could do and more things that all of us can learn. But not a single guru that's out there that you have followed for years is in a place where they're perfect either.
Right. And I always hear, you just need to know 10% more than the person that you're working with, right? You're there to help. And you've got something to help someone with. And yes, it is so important to do the work on yourself. And like, you've gone through so many different modalities, as have I, not because necessarily we felt, you know, unworthy, but I know that we're so much alike and we just thrive on knowledge and learning and wanting to share. So the more we can learn, the more we can share. And we love that. And and we love to have a toolbox because that's who we are. We want to be able to have all the answers in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So for those listening, how would they identify if they are in a place of imposter syndrome right now?
Yeah. Well, if you are behaving in a way that is different than what your intentions are, that's a big key right there. Because if you know that you want to lead other people, but you are also kind of blocking all of your best efforts toward that, then that's a really good sign that you've got this going on. Most of the time, and I think we talked about this last time we spoke, it's about that quiet voice in the back of your mind that argues with you. So no matter how many positive affirmations and mantras you're saying and how many wonderful intentions you set, if some part of your brain is going, oh, I'm not worthy of that, or, oh, what if these people realize that I don't have this degree? And so you've got those kinds of thoughts popping into your head. I don't deserve this. Anything like that, then you've got imposter syndrome. And so your subconscious beliefs are blocking your efforts toward what you really desire.
That was really good and giving deep thought. And I'm sure I feel like so many people going, oh yeah, I think I'm in that right now, whether that's what you're looking on social media or the people in your neighborhood, you know, that's keeping up with the Joneses. If we really get simple about it, it's that simple. It's keeping up with the Joneses. And so how do we identify what the challenging belief could be versus we're over here going, you know, but I'm great and I'm amazing and I'm worthy of success and I'm worthy of all this and I'm worthy of all of the abundance that everything is going to bring to me, right? Like doing those affirmations, but over here you're like that nervous Nelly. How do we connect it? How do we work that middle section to make that bridge?
Right. So a lot of what you're talking about is what I call the conscious work of, like, most of us have done a considerable amount of work on ourselves, and we get to the place where consciously we believe, I do deserve good things. And yet, if some part of us feels like I don't deserve good things, then we're going to create that. We're going to create negativity in our life because the subconscious always wins. Like,
always,
you know, whatever intentions we set on a conscious level, if the subconscious believes something else, that's what's going to win. And I actually like to give a really strong example of that most people can kind of resonate with is, let's say, you know, you just love Oreo cookies, but you know, those aren't doing you any good. And you just say, I'm not going to eat Oreo cookies anymore. Or I'm only going to eat 3 on the weekend or something along those lines, you know, and then next thing you know, it might be the next day, it might be a week later, but you're standing there eating Oreo cookie after Oreo cookie while you are saying to yourself, I said I wasn't going to eat these anymore. And that's because your conscious mind, you set the health goal of, I'm not going to eat these anymore. Your subconscious mind sees Oreo cookie is associated with coming down from something emotional, even like relief for 5 minutes, Because the subconscious doesn't see or care about long-term goals. It cares about keeping you safe, happy, and calm right now.
Right.
And so, and not even happy right now, safe and calm right now.
Safe and calm, right.
Yeah. And so, if it senses discomfort, it goes, oh, what's the easiest thing I can get to right now that I know has distracted me from or made me temporarily feel better from this kind of thing before? So you're going to go right to those Oreo cookies or the social media or the gambling or whatever you go to get yourself out of those thoughts and feelings. And that is subconsciously driven because, you know in your conscious mind that that is not a healthy, positive thing for you to be doing. And yet you're going to do it anyway because the subconscious goes, that's going to give us relief. Let's go. And it takes massive force of will to make that stop unless you address it on the subconscious level where it's coming from.
Absolutely. I love that you gave the cookie example because I have to tell you that I had this situation happen to me just last night. So for those of you who cannot see me, I am horrifically sunburned. I've barely been able to wear clothes for a few days. And last night was the first night that I actually felt good. And I felt like suddenly I had an appetite. And when I say appetite, like I wanted food, like anything, but it was late, right? It was later than I would really have eaten food. And one of my go-tos was, oh my gosh, what if you just made chocolate chip cookies? Now I'm sunburned. So putting on the oven, A, not a brilliant idea. B, the only thing that kept me from doing this, I didn't have all the ingredients. Or honestly, I probably just would have whipped on the toaster oven and made like 6 little cookies if I could have. But I was breaking that pattern of you just because you're uncomfortable, you don't need that to soothe with.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's little steps. Now, that doesn't mean that that's not going to pop back up, but that was one way consciously to break that, to begin to break that, that situation there. So I think that's funny that you brought up the Oreo cookies.
I love how the world works.
Doesn't it though? I mean, seriously, last night. And the other thing I'm thinking of is with the imposter syndrome, and you and I chatted a bit about this offline, because truth be told, I'm always honest. I'm going to say April and I always do interesting podcasts, and we always have a subject pre-thought of, and we've had like 3 or 4 pre-thought of. And one of those was imposter syndrome, which we're doing today. Well, that was supposed to happen last week. It was supposed to happen today, but I planned a whole different one for today. And she looked at me and said, well, what's your issue with imposter syndrome that suddenly, subconsciously, you're making us not do this podcast? And there was this huge bell that went off. And I was like, okay, we're going to do that today. And I said to her, I said, I know exactly what it is. I said, I've been in and around people who I have not been resonating with on an energetic level. I feel like I am higher than them and that I should really be teaching them, and yet feeling guilty for that on an ego basis, going, well, is that really true? And doubting who I am and doubting who I've worked with and what I've done and yada, yada, yada. And so April and I got a quick chuckle and said, okay, we're definitely doing this one today. So just to be transparent, you're not alone. Like we have that. And I can tell you personally, social media for me is a big one. Like I try not to follow anyone that does what I do. Right. Because I've gotten caught up in, well, Sally's doing this and this one's doing that and that one's, I mean, you can really get down a rabbit hole. And when I have not been in a great mindset, I definitely went down there into that. And I mean, it took a lot to pull myself out and go, wait a minute, girl, look at everything you've done. Look at who you've worked with. These are valid feelings. This is the universe being like, come on, like get it together. Let's move on.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that I don't have those issues to address on a subconscious level, which is something that April and I work on as her being my personal therapist now for a year. I don't know how long.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something. We've known each other for a few years, but we've been working together for a while, and it's been incredible. So when we look at those tools and you're using them, April, how has this helped you with business and life as you've been addressing your imposter syndrome over the years?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
The ways are endless. Yeah, it's incredible. And it's not just been imposter syndrome. It's been every area of my life has been improved because I have been working on the subconscious mind, because everything comes down to that. All of our in the moment knee-jerk reactions to things, the majority of our behaviors, it all comes down to the subconscious mind and what it perceives as a threat and what it's running as a limiting belief. So working on anything has made a huge difference. But, when it comes to really focusing on those kinds of beliefs that we just aren't as qualified as we should be, or that people are going to judge us, or that, we're not completely perfect and fixed yet, so we can't lead other people. Like those beliefs, when you can just sit down for like 20 minutes and think that belief and try to hold on to it and try to prove it while you listen to an audio track, and then you can walk away with that being nonsense to you afterward. Imagine being able to do that with every limiting belief you've ever had.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So much. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Just to get to the root of it and remove it. That's right. Miraculous in itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, anytime something, for a long time, it was kind of my goal to become trigger-free, or as close to trigger-free as a human could possibly be. And so I was really working on everything I could possibly get my hands on. Over the last year and a half, I've kind of relaxed about that and just been like, you know what, it's part of the human journey to get, bothered or triggered once in a while. And it's okay. I don't need to be doing work on myself all day, every day. But
I love that. Please trigger me, Betty Lou, in the grocery store. Please, I dare you.
Yeah, there was a while where I would just kind of celebrate whenever I got triggered. It's like, ooh, one chance to get even closer to being trigger free. Yeah. But, it's just brought so much peace and confidence to my life to have done the level of work that I've done on myself, and then to see other people get those kinds of results too, where when you are in a heavy place, and, you're rushing around trying to do all the conscious work on yourself and all the spiritual work on yourself and all of the things all the experts and gurus are telling you to do, you sort of start to feel kind of hopeless, powerless. Like, how many layers are there? How, when will this end? When can I finally resolve my biggest stuff? Like, how much freaking work do I have to do on one topic before it can go? And you just kind of get burnt out. And you start to feel like you're just on this hamster wheel constantly of like, how do I fix myself? How do I fix myself? And to be able to then reach a place in your life where you just feel calm and at ease the majority of the time, that's an astonishing shift. And I mean, not to say that it didn't take me a lot of work to get to that place, right. But it was once I started doing that on the subconscious level that shift actually happened. Where I was getting, maybe a brief glimpse of that for a moment, a half a day or something like that when I was doing the other work. But once I started really diving in on the subconscious level, the level of confidence that came in for me and the level of peace that came in has been jaw-dropping.
I mean, if that doesn't make everyone want to call one of us right now, I don't know what will. I would be calling it. I would be like, Jennifer, sign me up. What do I need to do?
Get me in there.
Seriously. Absolutely. Now, for those out there that they're like, well, I'm doing the breath work and I'm doing the hypnosis and I've tried this and I've tried that. Particularly, I don't know if you've realized, but breath work is a huge buzzword right now. Mm-hmm. It's everywhere. And I think it's interesting. I've had some experiences. I would love to know how would you compare the work that we do on the subconscious level to what's being, do we say, presented or advertised with breath work right now?
Yeah. So breath work kind of ties in a lot with nervous system work. And first of all, when you're doing some of the more hardcore holotropic breath work, you can often trigger some of your trauma responses and bring up past traumas that you've been through by doing the deeper, more intense breathing. But then other breathing techniques are about kind of coming back to your body, calming your nervous system, things like that. Now, all of those things can be vastly improved by addressing things on the subconscious level, because most of our triggers that happen and trigger our nervous system into reactivity and trigger all those stress chemicals to flow through our body. It's because the subconscious mind is perceiving some kind of a threat. And so if you can go to your past traumas and heal those on the subconscious level, your subconscious no longer feels a threat around things that are similar to that trauma. And it resolves them so that when you go to do breath work or something like that, you can actually get high from it instead of having it trigger your past traumas. And when you have resolved those traumas and your phobias and things of that level on the subconscious level, you don't have to constantly calm your nervous system down because your nervous system isn't being reactive in the first place because all the stuff that was triggering you has been healed. So that's kind of
I love that you just hit that. I mean, that's huge. Like, can we get out the highlighter and highlight that? Like, doing the subconscious work is releasing the fight or flight within your nervous system.
Right.
Empaths, highly sensitive people, are you listening to what we just said? This is huge. And April and I have both experienced this on different levels with different things in our lives, yet similar all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, hey, if we're talking to empaths, the biggest gift that I've seen from this is that I used to have a hard time going to the grocery store. I mean, I would have to like energetically mind my own business hardcore whenever I went into a grocery store for a long time. And now I hardly take on anybody's anything because I just don't resonate with it. With the amount of work that I have done on my own stuff, my own triggers, my own traumas, my own fears and worries, I don't resonate with other people's triggers, traumas, fears, and worries. And so when I get in their energy field and they're freaking out and they've got anxiety and whatever else, I'm not also feeling that because I've healed that in myself. So then I know if I am reacting to somebody's stuff, then I've probably got something in relation to that I need to work through. But I didn't expect that to occur. I didn't expect to be empathically kind of superpowered. I mean, and I do still have my abilities. I can tune into people if I want to. It just doesn't automatically happen and it doesn't overtake me like it used to.
Right. Are you ready to lose inches, increase strength, and tone your body from head to toe? Are you ready for a total body, mind, and spirit transformation? I am excited to announce that I am launching my exclusive 8-week Pilates Return to Life training program. This will give you an opportunity to have a total body, mind, and spirit transformation of health and wellness to a new lifestyle. Imagine in 7 days you will feel a difference, in 14 days you will see a difference, and in 8 weeks you will have your new Pilates body. So what do you say? Want to join me on the mat? Head over to jenniferpilates.com today. Space is limited. Use this special promo code EW and the word special, EW special, to receive $200 off while space is available. Head on over to jenniferpilates.com and I'll see you on the mat. And I remember when the first time you said that, and I said, oh my gosh, you're right. Since I've been doing this work, I specifically really need to tune in. Mm-hmm. And I'm uber sensitive. I can't quite stop some of the earth stuff that I feel. And maybe we just haven't gotten there yet. Maybe we haven't gotten to that level yet. But as far as I have to tune in for a reading or for if I really want to feel what's going on with someone or purposefully tuning in versus just, oh yeah, this is blah, 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 what's going on. And that's really big as an empath to be able to feel so empowered and that not everything is coming and overtaking you all the time.
Yep.
Now, you told me before we got started that you had a little exercise you wanted to do with us today.
Yes.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So I want to do a little imposter syndrome exercise so that you can kind of move past your blocks. Now, of course, this isn't my favorite tools because we don't have the rights to play those on the air here. But this is a little EFT exercise that I want to run through with you guys to just process through any kind of imposter syndrome you might be having, any way that you might be blocking yourself from the success that you desire. So if you know the EFT tapping, you can go ahead and do that with this. You can go ahead and tap the 7 main points. Or you can just do some kind of bilateral stimulation where you're tapping on alternate sides of your body. So you might tap your right hand and then tap your left and then your right and then your left. Or you can tick-tock your eyes back and forth. I just want you to get some kind of stimulation of both sides of your brain by stimulating both sides of your body or getting the EFT tapping going so that we've got some energy flowing. We're accessing some energy points. We're accessing the subconscious mind. And we're getting the whole brain in on this. So I'm going to walk through a script, and I would like you to repeat after me. If you are alone and you feel comfortable doing so, I'd like you to say these things out loud. If you have to say them silently, that's okay as well. But if you get a chance at another time, you may want to replay this and do it out loud for yourself, because that makes it even more powerful. Then you're not only saying it to yourself in your brain, you're saying it to the universe, you're putting it out there as a strong intention. All right. Okay. So you can
go question. I was just going to ask, are you going to walk us through if we're going to tap with you? Like or are we just going to do
you can just go ahead and do whatever tapping sequence feels comfortable for you with this. Okay. And then I am going to walk you through just getting grounded in it and then doing the actual script process.
Perfect.
All right. So I'll tell you when to begin tapping.
Okay.
For now, you can go ahead and close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths just to get really present in your body. Just feeling your body settle in. Feeling your lungs expand and contract as you take a few slow, deep breaths. Scanning your body for anything that feels heavy, anything that feels tight. And not judging it, not trying to change it, just acknowledging it. Maybe sending it a little love. And you can also scan your body for anything that feels neutral. And for anything that feels good. And now, I'd like you to think of some moments recently where you have felt not good enough, not powerful enough, not enough for something or someone. And now I would like you to begin the tapping, whatever feels right to you. Repeat after me. I really want to be successful.
I really want to be successful.
But I've been blocking myself.
But I've been blocking myself.
I've been having lots of negative thoughts about myself and what I'm worth.
I have been having lots of negative thoughts of myself and what I'm worth.
What I'm capable of.
What I'm capable of.
I've been comparing myself to others.
I've been comparing myself to others.
Feeling like everyone can do it better than me.
Feeling like everyone can do it better than me.
That I'm not good enough yet.
That I'm not good enough yet.
That I'm not perfect enough.
That I'm not perfect enough.
Not qualified enough.
Not qualified enough.
That it's too hard.
That it's too hard.
Too much work.
Too much work.
So even though I want to be successful, part of me has been holding back.
Part of me has been holding back.
Just in case someone might notice my flaws.
Just in case someone might notice my flaws.
They might notice I'm not good enough.
That they may notice I'm not good enough.
I don't want that.
I don't want that.
It reminds me of times in the past.
It reminds me of times in the past.
Where I failed at something.
where I failed at something,
or wasn't as good and popular as someone else.
or wasn't as good or popular as someone else.
I hate that feeling.
I hate that feeling.
Now, just for a moment, I want you to sit with a feeling like that. I'd like you to sit with the memory of that happening and how that feels. Continue tapping. And now, repeating after me once again. Even now, I would feel so ashamed.
Even now, I would feel so ashamed
And embarrassed.
and embarrassed
If someone noticed I wasn't skilled enough and perfect yet.
if someone noticed I wasn't skilled enough or perfect enough.
So ashamed.
So ashamed.
So embarrassed.
So embarrassed.
It just seems easier to stay small.
It just seems easier to stay small,
To hide.
to hide,
To stay safe.
to stay safe.
But as much as I like that safe feeling,
But as much as I like that safe feeling,
I know I would enjoy success even more.
I know I would enjoy success even more,
And I deserve it.
and I deserve it.
I've worked hard.
I've worked hard.
I've built my skills and experience.
I've built my skills and experience.
I have my own special gifts and abilities.
I have my own special gifts and abilities.
I'm good at what I do.
I'm good at what I do,
And I'm getting better all the time.
and I'm getting better all the time.
I'm not that kid anymore.
I'm not that kid anymore.
Anyone who would bother criticizing me
Anyone who would bother criticizing me
is just battling their own insecurities.
is just battling their own insecurities.
I am good enough.
I am good enough,
And I will continue to improve.
and I will continue to improve.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
I am strong enough to overcome any challenges that arise.
I am strong enough to overcome any challenges that arise.
I've got this.
I've got this.
I accept myself just as I am.
I accept myself just as I am.
I choose to bring my gifts to the world.
I choose to bring my gifts to the world.
Bringing my gifts to the world helps inspire others.
Bringing my gifts to the world helps inspire others.
It is safe for me to be successful.
It is safe for me to be successful.
It is safe for me to be seen.
It is safe for me to be seen.
I am more than enough.
I am more than enough.
And I choose success.
And I choose success.
And take a nice deep breath. You can stop tapping and just let that settle in for a moment. And then just coming back to your body, back to the real world, and bringing that intention to choose success from now on.
Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I definitely felt emotions welling up during certain parts. And I definitely feel like, hell yeah, I'm going out and getting the world today. Yeah, let's go empower everybody. Woo, woo, let's do this.
We all need more of that.
We do. I do.
Yes.
I feel incredibly empowered. I feel like, yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. Well,
We need that today. We need that kind of
sometimes you gotta
energy.
say that.
Damn straight. Absolutely. Oh, I feel good. Everyone else is going to please drop in the comments, send us messages, let us know. How did you feel? What came up for you? What did you feel release? You know, were there
Yes.
tears? Were you angry? If you notice at certain times, my voice started to go.
Mm-hmm.
There were times where my subconscious and conscious were like, I don't know about this. And I
Right.
kept going through. And those are the different things
Yes.
that you're going to feel and pay attention to and notice in your body and
Absolutely.
embrace and have grace with yourself for that.
Yes. Now, I do find that even with this being a level of subconscious work, that it still will need to be repeated. You can't do that exercise once and expect to change everything for the rest of your life. You probably are going to need to do it, 5 to 10 times for it to really be a conscious thing that starts to come about in your regular life and that you fully buy into. So I'll do a little exercise. If I don't have time to do a full thing like this, or I don't have time for a full Orpheus track to work on something, I'll just do a quick little EFT exercise on myself. Like, I trust the universe to provide for me. I trust the universe to provide for me. I'll just do some tapping and repeat whatever it is that I need to remind my subconscious of that, I've done some work on. And it helps to shift me right back into where I need to be to keep moving forward. So, I would suggest doing this exercise several times, or, taking a course to learn the Orpheus tools, or working with an Orpheus therapist to really get at tools that can often fix things in 10 to 20 minutes. So those are great ways to go about it. You can also do hypnosis, EFT, EMDR, things like that to get at the subconscious mind as well. And that's what it's all about in my book, is just do what it takes to get into the subconscious mind. I just find that things like EFT, EMDR, NLP, all of those kinds of things need a lot of repetition, not as much repetition as you would need if you were just talking to yourself and trying to use a positive mindset. But I do find that, the Orpheus tools often take care of things in minutes. The rest of the subconscious modalities maybe in hours, and then everything else years.
Right. Well, exactly. And I would like to comment, you and I talked that one time that I attempted doing EFT when I was going on a plane a couple of years ago. And I was going no drugs, no nothing. We're talking about a very anxious flyer on numerous levels, and the world was shut down, and you're masked. I mean, it was a process. And I got on there, and you feel yourself getting warm. People are coming around you, and you're like, oh, this isn't good. And so I start tapping. Well, let's be clear. It made it worse. And I want to address this because I know you and I talk about this every once in a while, because I don't want people to think that they're going crazy. Because in that moment, I didn't know this about tapping, where sometimes it will bring that sensation more before it releases. Well, in that time and place, let's be clear, that was not going to work for me. So I immediately then went into my toolbox and went into my Reiki and into my Reiki music and went that route.
Yeah.
Because that was so frightening to me.
Yeah, that's a valid thing with EFT, especially. I do find that somebody came to me years ago when I first learned EFT, and she said, oh yeah, EFT, I tried it a couple years ago on a money fear that I had. And then the next time I was faced with something around money, I had a panic attack, so I was more reactive to it. And what I find happens with most forms of EFT is that you work on something, and so that thing has been deep in your subconscious, and now you've worked through a layer of it. It's a little bit closer to the surface, but that means you're probably going to be a little bit more reactive to it than you used to be. And so then you have to do another round when you're triggered. And then that takes care of a layer of it, and now it's a little closer to the surface. So it might be even more intense next time. And then you have to do another round till it's, even closer to the edge. And then you just keep going until it's finally gone. And what I have found, with the Orpheus tools is that that's not really the case. As long as you do as many rounds as you need to right in a row to take care of that particular issue, once you've gotten it down to a 0 and you've worked on it at the root, you typically aren't reactive to that thing anymore. And that, to me, is the huge comparison. Like, huge. How can you get rid of it in one sitting?
Huge. Absolutely. And we've both experienced that for different things, personally and professionally. We've both walked through, and I am mesmerized every time by it, where the track is, let's just say 12 minutes. And then 3 minutes into it, I'm done being angry, upset, and crying. And I'm starting to laugh, and I'm going, What was I even upset about? Right. And how amazing is that? You're still going to see if that situation happens again, or if that, whatever that thing is that bothered you happened again, but you're not going to be triggered on that emotional level.
Right.
You're now conscious. You're not in fight or flight, and you're able to move through it, past it, and just kind of walk by it and go, okay, next.
Right.
Which is huge.
You can more calmly, logically step back and look at it from that logical, grounded standpoint and figure out, is this something I can just ignore and move on with? Or is this something I need to actually do something about? Do I need to set a boundary? Do I need to end things with someone or a job or something like that? But you're not doing it from a place of emotionality and reactivity. You're doing it from that calm, logical place, which makes all the difference in the world.
Right. Incredibly so. Will you tell us all a little bit more about the Orpheus Academy and the courses and everything based on the tools that we've been speaking of?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we've been talking about the tools that are available at Orpheus Mind Technologies, and they're extremely powerful tools, but they are moving much more toward a practitioner model. And so I am the lead teacher at Orpheus Academy, which is their training platform. Now, you don't have to be a practitioner to take their course. It is designed primarily for coaches, therapists, people like that, to be able to implement these tools into their practices. But currently, anyone who's a self-helper who's just really been trying everything and still isn't where they want to be, you can also take the course to learn how to access the tools and how to use them the most effective ways possible to get things at the root and to understand the science behind it and all of that. And, we pretty much promote the licensing as something for practitioners, but common people can also become licensed. And that means you get free access to the app with your licensing fee. You get all kinds of perks. You get question and answer sessions every month so that you can come in and actually ask practitioners questions. So there's a lot that comes with it. And so you take the level 1 course, you learn how to use the emotion tools, and then, you could become an affiliate to help share that with other people. And you can also then get access to the tools. But it's also possible to just work with an Orpheus therapist. If you don't want to have to go and take the course and get licensing and all of that, you can work with an Orpheus therapist who has already been through all of that, who can also be your accountability partner and help to give you a lot of ideas. Because sometimes it's just hard when it's you to step back far enough from your issue to be able to look at it from an outside perspective. Sometimes when it's us and we're just entrenched in it, we can't logically look at that issue and figure out maybe what the root is or where that's coming from. So that's where a practitioner can be super helpful. And both Jennifer and I do that kind of work. So you can reach out to either one of us to do that. But it just makes such a difference to be able to take care of things very quickly and easily, regardless of whether you're kind of doing that for yourself or you're doing it with a therapist. So, that's my whole spiel on that. I don't want to,
right.
I don't want to keep going on about it. I could gush about it all day.
I know we can gush about it all day because we just feel it's so amazing. And you know what it's like when you come across something amazing, whether it is a product, a person, a practitioner, whatever it is, you want to share it. And particularly something like this that so many people need right now. Mental health is imperative. And with everything that everyone has been going through, with everything that is going on, we just all need to be self-caring for ourselves. You've got to be filling that cup, overflow your cup at this point so that you can be there for your family, for your friends, for your work, whatever that may be, for your fur babies. It's so imperative to take care of yourself. And, we're here to help you. We're here to guide you, whatever way that may be. Maybe you have questions about EFT, the Orpheus Academy, whatever that is. Maybe it's Reiki. We're here for that because we just want to see you empowered within.
Yes.
April, will you please share with our community where they can best get in touch with you, grab your books, reach out and chat?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram under April Adams Emotion Coach and also at my website, apriladams.org/mywork.
Wonderful. And as we close out the show today, wrapping up our Imposter Syndrome podcast, what piece of inspiration would you like us to have?
I just want everyone to know that they're good enough as they are. And yes, we all have work to do. Yes, we all have improving that needs to happen. But we also need to share what our gifts are and to get it out there now, not to keep waiting until we're perfect.
Right. The world needs you now. Shine your light.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, as always, April, thank you so much. It's so much fun when we get together and chit chat. We could be here for hours.
100%.
Yes. Thank you for sharing everything and always being so authentic and everything that you bring to the table for us. I'm so greatly appreciative of that.
Thank you. It's always my pleasure to be here.
Always. Well, as we say, until next time, may you live an empowered life within. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Empowered Within with Jennifer Pilates. Your feedback is important. It helps me to connect with you and gives me insight into who you are and what you're enjoying about the show. For today's show notes and discount codes from today's sponsors, head over to jenniferpilates.com. Until next time, may you live an empowered life from within.